Afternoon, Mary.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. Clicked right on today. It seems to be working well.
Yeah.
Now, Rick will be able to click on the same, and anybody else.
Yes, sir.
Who can call? Who can call in? Is it only people that register with you, or
Anybody.
so if they go to Bean Potbean Live on .com or whatever it is, they can see Optimize Life radio show and click on it.
Correct. Here's also the link in the chat. I just put the link in the chat.
Okay, so it's podbean.com slash, I can't read that.
It's an alphabet soup.
Okay. Can you print that to me? Is there a way to I either download that or you can send that to print it to me so I can give it to other people?
Okay, so this is for today's show.
Oh, okay.
I'm working on putting together a online business card that has the links for everything.
Okay. Hmm. Okie doke. Ah. Hey, we got, I think I shared with you this morning, left a message. Linda's got 6 days till the removal of the system that she's been recovering out of.
Awesome.
Yeah, real excited about that. So, and I am going to be going to speak and teach at the Mohawk program for the young men that are going through their life restructuring course. I am going to become I can't give you the name professor. I don't have a certificate. I will be a teacher and providing the curriculum that Joel created for Research and Resource Center for Economic Development.
Awesome.
I'm excited because it was that was Jim Joel's vision. He wanted to get it. I actually took it to. I think I told you I took it to Goodwill, and we were all set to launch that program. Now that was about the time I must have gotten sick or something, but we didn't. But they at the same time, somebody on the board didn't like expert rating training courses. Thought we were ripping people off. He was an ignorant person, never even knew what it was, but he deep six the program because we recommended using expert rating for extra courses.
Some of
And
their stuff is good, some of their stuff is a little outdated.
okay, well that could happen in many places.
Yeah, no. I've gotten their medical stuff is phenomenal. It's up to date. I do my continuing ed on there. Some of their
Well,
social media stuff is a little outdated. That's all.
the two basic courses that Joel always wanted people. First one was to be a virtual advisor. That's one course, and I did graduate from that. I have that. The other one is being a life coach, and that is pretty detailed program.
Yeah, it's a good program. Kurt took it. I looked at it. I didn't take it because I already had all my certifications.
Yeah, so it is a serious, it's a serious platform to launch from that you can take and match it with a lot of other skills so that can continue to be an advisor to people, and you can create a business and charge for your services once you've gone through those courses. And they
Correct.
even give you places to advertise to do that. That's what I like about expert rating is there's an actual place to launch from, an association that you can join. It's free, and it gives you a platform to promote.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree with you.
I took some CBDQ, PZYZ, drops that you can get.
Is Ron
And
stoned?
what's that?
Is
Well, I
Ron
don't know.
stoned?
I put some. I had a sore back this morning, and I put it on my head. I feel cloudy. The only thing I can think
You're
of is I.
stoned. This is gonna be
Oh,
fun.
uh,
Hey Rick, I got exciting for you.
Awesome.
Ron took CBD oil. He's stoned.
I am not stoned. I'm feeling a little. My head's a little cloudy.
That is what's.
That's better than a thing.
Anyways, good morning, Rick.
You hear what I said?
No.
No, I was talking to Mary.
Oh,
Hey, Mary.
I didn't hear you over Ron.
Mary. Mary.
Yes, sir. Yes,
The word
sir.
that you can't say, the word that you can't say, that's better than a thing.
Uh
Oil. I'm just kidding.
huh.
Okay. I did leave Colorado,
Now Rick knows all too well about the impact.
The impacts. That's a plural S.
Today.
Oh boy, oh boy. Mary, see where you take us to? Oh my gosh.
well, first of all, I'd
Oh.
like to welcome everybody. Welcome you guys. Anybody else that might be calling in or listening in. This is Travel Tuesday on the Optimize Your Life Golden Rule Society radio show. And we welcome everyone here. My name is Ron Clayton. I'm joined by the treasurer of the Hope Collection, and we have the board of directors person who's also in charge of I was going to say neurodiversity training and counseling.
Neurosis.
And we today
So you know me that well. You know I'm neurotic.
there we go.
Oh
We
yeah.
know each other well. We are in love with each other because we have a common base that we draw from in our spiritual life and in our educated senses. What we've done is we've joined forces to make a difference in this world. And because we have an expert in the travel industry, and I say that, I used to tell other people, and they'd say, "Oh, you're like an expert in that." And I go, "No, don't call me that. An X is a has been, a spurt is a drip under pressure." But an expert is still somebody who has qualifications, experience, leadership, and has insights and vision that allows them to be equipped to help you change whatever things and course that you may be on, direction you're headed, or one you want to complete. Rick Reese is an individual that I would like to recommend to you to listen to. And on Tuesdays, we interact with each other and share concepts and proven, and we have a track record. We have a program. We have a company. It's called Surge 365, which we do endorse as an organization and partake, and they sponsor. And what it does, that organization enables people to do something that is really great about America. You can own a business in America. Now, if I go down the list of some of the popular business concepts and programs in the world today that people see, most of the time it costs an awful lot of money. If you're a brick and mortar business, you got a lot of risk. You have a lot of upfront costs. You have continuing costs. And the worst part, most people don't realize if you do start up a business in the normal world, your competitor isn't going to help you. Or you have no resources to speak of unless you pay for very high and costly and time consuming advisors to make that work. You're really risking an awful lot. Well, what we found in a business that is in a world let's talk about if you're going to get in business, you should be in one that's successful. I'm talking about worldwide, has a track record. This company did $11 trillion last year. So I think that's a pretty good pace, isn't it, Rick?
It absolutely is.
Okay, so now we got the amount of business they're doing. It's around the world, and people want it. Am I right? I don't remember ever having to beg somebody about ask them about travel. Never. In fact, it's almost like if someone if you're walking down the street, someone knew what you know about travel, they'd jump you. Well, that's why I always say, why don't you let them know before they jump you? I don't mean jump because they're being a
Let me
negative.
ask you a question.
Yes,
Where would you and Linda would go if you could go anywhere like now or tomorrow morning and time was not an issue, price was not an issue, there were no issues and you could just we're going. Where would
we'd
that be?
hop on a river cruise over in Europe, a Viking river cruise.
Really?
Yeah, we want to go back. It was actually the launching when we started. You introduced us to the travel world and the opportunity and the business that I was starting to describe. That we got started for less than the cost of a phone, a cell phone, and that's why I was trying to draw some analogies to some of the other companies. And years earlier, I was going to open a print shop, little quick print shop, and the cost for equipment, the cost for education, cost for space, the cost for the sign staff. Yeah, it was probably about a $500,000 investment that I would have to borrow the money to get into it. That's before I made a dime. We got started in the travel industry for, like I said, less than the cost of a cell phone. And 3 months later, we were in Germany, France, Amsterdam, Holland, and Switzerland. I think, and when we got back from that trip, Rick, they gave us a check was in our mailbox. We made
Amazing.
$800 going on our own trip. That's
Amazing. Amazing. To get paid to go on your own trip. How does that even happen? It happens because you have access to the industry. I was talking to someone yesterday, and we were talking about the business and the benefits of the business. Conversation was on e-commerce, e-commerce platforms. And so this gentleman was on this call, and he was sharing that the thing to do today is to create and open up your own e-commerce business. And so he went on and said, different types of e-commerce platforms. And Ron, he's going on and on and on. And he recommended, this one site that provides an e-commerce platform. And I went to I went to their website. The cost of this website e-commerce platform was $7,632, $35. And I went, wow. Or
just to join it.
to for them to create, it's almost like GoDaddy, where they create your e-commerce platform. You still have to figure out what your product line is, right? And the thing that you're
What
going
the
to,
product line is, how do you know somebody's going to buy what it is you're going to sell?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so he said, you got to do your research. You got to make sure you've got something that everybody needs. And the product that you sell has to be something everybody wants. And he said, but you can go to this site and they'll create the platform for you, the e-commerce platform where you can put in your pricing, you can put in, do a little bit of marketing material stuff. And, but you got to figure out, what product are you going to be selling on this platform? So you can lease the platform for, I think it was like $736 a month, or you can purchase it for $7,635. And so he's going on and on. So you can imagine what I'm thinking as I'm hearing all this. And he's talking to a crowd of folks that are on this call. And I was like, wow, the people, the things that people, the things that people spend money on that to us, especially e-commerce, makes no sense. And so it wasn't a call where I could freely say, now, hold on. You talk about e-commerce. Let's talk about travel. The largest industry on the planet. In fact, let me ask you a question. Do you think there is a need, not you, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a need for travel? Do you think people are traveling? Do you think that's going up or is it going down? Right? The general questions, right? And I could go on and on. 9 billion people after COVID were locked down that now want to travel. They're desperate to travel. So you think there's a need, you think there's a want, you think there's a desire globally for it. And I could go on and on and on. People looking for new career opportunities. What about career opportunities in hospitality and tourism? Do you think people are booking online? Have you ever heard of Expedia, Priceline, Booking.com, Travelocity? Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Do you think people are actually using them? Do you think people go to travel agents and book with travel advisors? I could ask a series of questions. Well, I want you to consider, instead of paying $7,635 and whatever monthly fee, or leasing an e-commerce platform for $736 a month, I want you to consider Surge 365, which is an e-commerce travel platform where you're in for 500, less than the cost of a cell phone, $500 one time, $120 a month if you just want to use it for your own travel, for your own creating revenue. If you want to share the opportunity to others who are looking just like you. You've heard of Circle of Friends advertising, you know, you've heard of even network marketing, word of mouth advertising. How about sharing this product with someone that is also looking to travel wholesale instead of retail, or maybe looking for a career opportunity in hospitality and tourism, or maybe wants to create a little income by tapping into this online booking market? How about sharing this opportunity? Share the opportunity with three individuals who purchased the travel technology package, which is the only package that we offer. That package, though, includes a travel agency access. It includes an online booking engine for customers to save, you earn. It includes a wholesale members program, travel wholesale instead of retail. Share it with three people who purchased the travel technology package. You hit something we call three and free. So that $120 monthly fee, $99 of it is waived. So the overhead for your business, your e-commerce platform, is $20, Ron, right? $20. Of all that I said, the key word to remember is access. Access. So instead of spending that 7,000 da 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 or monthly 700 for $500 one time, and now your overhead is $20 after making your three and free. We call it three and free. Three sales of the travel technology package. Overhead's $20. You have access to the largest industry on the planet, travel. How do you have access? You have a link called the Vortex. The Vortex is a customer self-booking link. Move aside Expedia, move aside Travelocity. A grader is here. The Vortex, when somebody comes into Surge 365, they can give out this free Vortex link. People can go to that link and let's say they book a hotel. Biggest savings, hotels, cruises, cars. Let's say they book a hotel. They're going to save up to 60% over the Expedia price. So when they book that hotel, same hotel, You could book the same hotel going directly to the hotel, same hotel going through Expedia or the Vortex. And we're saying, hey, go through the Vortex. It goes out and it looks at the Expedia price for for that same hotel and has an algorithm that's applied. The price through the Vortex is up to 60% less than the Expedia price, which is the public price, which is the lowest internet price globally, right? That customer with this free link is going to save access to the booking industry, the online booking industry. Whatever they save, the Vortex owner earns. If they save $50, you just made $50. Why give that profit margin to Expedia? If they save $100, you just made $100. Access to the online booking industry. The second product under Search 365 is an actual host travel agency, which gives us host travel agency access to an actual travel agency, Travemanity. In this, if a person wants to start a new career, access to career opportunities in hospitality and tourism. I want to be a Disney travel agent. I want to be a Viking River cruise specialist. I want to be a special needs. We have access to all the training in the industry. I want to be a Hyatt specialist, a Marriott specialist, a Buffalo specialist. All the industry training we have access to. Why? Because we're in the travel side of the industry, travel agents, travel advisors. The third product under the Surge 365, the trifecta, under the Surge 365 travel products is a wholesale club membership lifestyle benefits program. We have access to wholesale rates. Now we're giving the customers a Vortex link which saves them. But for us to travel, we have access to wholesale rates, travel wholesale instead of retail. So if I'm staying in that same hotel that I gave the Vortex customer my Vortex link, my prices are even lower than their prices, which is even lower than the lowest internet price. So now, and Ron, you mentioned this today when we were talking, gift cards through this members program. You have access to gift cards. You have access to food coupons. You have access to online shopping. You have access to the wholesale rates for hotels and cruises and cars. You can book your flights. You can book your activities. I mean, you have a concierge that you can call and they'll answer your questions. They'll plan your trips. They can even book your trips. I mean, it's a lifestyle benefits program, members program. Now, you talk about an e-commerce platform that provides a person immediate access. And so, Ron, as I'm listening to all of this, and he's going through and he's saying, okay, now you have to figure out what you want to sell, and now you're going to do this, and now you're going to do that, and you're going to do SEO, search engine optimization with go. I'm like, oh my Lord, my head. And I said, at the end, I really didn't want to go into the detail like I'm doing today because it wasn't really a platform for that.
Hey,
But I
Rick.
said, Warren Buffett says, last thing here, Warren Buffett says, the things that you like to do should be a hobby of yours. But the thing the world likes to do should be what? A business of yours. Over to you.
Well, Rick, what you said, I don't know if you ever heard the term or the slang term called that's a crapshoot. You know, when I was young, and I was young one time,
When
first
I
married,
was 17.
I was a little older than that, but Lynn and I got married, and I was in job. I'd done the thing, the old pattern. So you go, parents used to say, go get a good education, get as much education. I still think that's important, but in their case, they were thinking formal education. Sit in the schoolroom. Then once you get past the required, then go voluntarily sit in a classroom for hours and years, spend a ton of money, learn something, then go figure out how to use that to get a job. Well, and then worked there for 40 years, and at the end of 40 years, everything was going to be okay. Well, that was a lie then, it's a lie now, and more than ever. There are people, a lot of government employees that are finding out that having a government job isn't a guarantee that you get a paycheck every week. And that's the world has changed. Well, see, that's a crapshoot because you can't win. You may look like you're winning for a short time, but when your time and what you're doing runs out, maybe the need for what you're doing doesn't exist anymore. Then
Wow, that's good.
you're gone, and that's what I call a crapshoot. But if you own something, the difference in America, in the world, is that if you own something, it's yours. Ever this isn't selfish. This isn't talking about it. This is something that there's investment and return, and there's ability to create uh, a value and increase, and then you can barter that. You can sell that. What you create a value to, that's being ownership. And when you can do that, you can create a value that grows. It's like
Good.
the bank makes money because it owns the business, and they have people invest in it. Sometimes they use it for a short period. Some people use it for a long period, but they have all kinds of ways, different kinds of ways to make money. When I worked in a job, I had one way to make money. That would show up when they told me to come and do what they tell me to do it as much as I can for as long as I can, and then they would give me a paycheck. The only promise was they were going to make me a paycheck on Friday or every other week or monthly sometimes in jobs. So that's pretty risky. My mom always taught me, don't be, and as it turns out, it was a gamble. I believe in risking. Risking is something that you have the probability, and you can value probabilities in your favor. And when you own something, a tool that works and has a track record, and the people that you get to be involved with are people of integrity, those are all important attributes. But when you add those all together, then you have a system to rely on. The outcome is an incredible outgrowth of all the talents and everything God blessed you with, and then how you use those to interact with other people and serve. And you add that, that's a formula you can't lose.
That is a formula you cannot lose. Absolutely. I totally agree. And so I got off the call and I'm like, okay, wow. All these people heard this, but there are too many steps. People can only do a few steps at a time, right? If you've got to purchase the platform, find your product, market your product, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the whole thing to get up and running, how many businesses fail in the first 5 years?
85%.
85%. And I was talking to Brenda earlier about it, and she says, "Well, if you don't have a follower base, it makes it even harder because now you're starting from scratch, trying to, with your three friends that may purchase something from you. You're trying to market to the masses, and you only have about three or four friends, right? And it don't work. Here comes Surge 365. We just got back from the 10th year anniversary celebration, Wood River, Illinois, where our corporate office is. 10 years, 10 years of success. We've been in the industry since 2004, full time since 2005. When you talk about proven success systems, when you talk about paying people on time, never missed a check. They always pay. We've never missed a check, even through COVID, even through 2008 when the economy went kind of. We never missed a check when
You
companies.
know,
Go ahead.
Rick, as you're talking about this would be a great tool for families that only have one income due to having special needs kids and one of them can't work, who've
Mm,
lost funding due to the elimination of programs,
wow.
but also the neurodiverse individuals who are trying to figure out a place where they belong that can't always go and work outside due to environmental causes.
That's good.
That's excellent.
And even now with the invention of the AI and voice systems, the nonverbals could actually do this. People who can't physically talk.
That's huge. Wow. That's an important point. That is an important point because the interaction is as much or as little as you desire. And if a person can't, you know, verbally speak, but can communicate through emails or some other way or means, they don't have to physically book. You know, that's what a lot of people don't understand. I was talking to a lady yesterday, and there was an event. There's an event that's happening in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she had recommended a couple of hotels where she knew the managers. And Ron, you'll get a kick out of this. And so I was telling her, I said, hey, you know, with this event and these two hotels that you know, people are going to be coming to this event, and we can offer them, I'm sure, discount rates on these two hotels, and we can just send them the link. And so the lady says, well, Rick, you know what? I know the two managers, and I can connect you with them so we can talk to them about that. And I says, I don't need to talk to them. They're already listed on our platform. We connect to online booking. Happen to be the Hampton Inn. We have the Hampton Inn on.
Oh,
Okay, let me. I'm not even going to say anything else. Ron, why are you laughing?
because it's funny. I've had people that had different relations in the travel industry, and they claim that they got all these connections. Well, I have not lost once to somebody who went to, when we have our site and we use it, Vortex. We ain't never lost an account, an opportunity, because we are not operating on the same platform. What the world doesn't know, that the retail market on the internet and advertising in the regular world, they are operating on a platform. There's a title for it. It's called parity. And when I was in the retail, I worked for J.C. Penney's in my youth, and Sears got caught for what's called parity because there's another name for it. It's called price fixing. What they do is they set the marketplace price, and everybody that's out there that's selling the product directly or indirectly work within the little window of that price. They might want a little bit less, a little bit more. There's some, I'll call them irregularities. There's some different options, but people go to these sites because that's what they've been told. They've been sold. Go to the internet and go sign up. Well, go sign up Expedia, Travelocity, and guess what? They own everybody. So whatever place you go to, book it, hotels.com or what other company you want to come up with, they all operate on parity. Well, we don't. Now here's the distinct difference why we can talk like we do and say what we do is we don't operate on that platform. We are in the world of travel. We are distinctly on the inside of the whole market. Our company has the process contracts worldwide, and anything that's a travel product, a hospitality product, we get to buy it wholesale. Nobody beats wholesale. Nobody. Unless they want to sell less than wholesale, and that's the normal market. So if there's one guy in particular and he wants to give you a great rate, that's because he's doing that. But that's not going to run a business on that. Nobody is. So we are uniquely positioned on any given day, on any given moment, in every property, service, uh, car rental, event, cruise, um, uh, anything, des- destination. Our prices are in the marketplace. 90% of the time, we're going to be 60 or 30 to 60% less than anybody. So we can sleep real well. We put a price out there, we can go to sleep. If somebody goes and decides that they think they can beat you, I remember a couple of years ago we were up in Newport. We wanted to go on an American River cruise and became certified with them. And the cruise we wanted to go on was booked in the time when we wanted to go. So we decided, well, we wanted to go. It was in New England. So we decided we went to New England. We went up to Rhode Island. And we were at the Atlantic Beach Company Hotel right on the beach in the ocean. And I sat there. I got a phone call from one of our friends' daughter, who we know, and she was a lawyer, very astute. Worked on the internet. Actually, did business for China internationally. So she knew how to get travel done because she was used to doing that. However, she said to me, Uncle Ron, she called me that, I'm going to go on my honeymoon and we want to go this place, this date, this time, this is what it is. And I've already looked it up. Here's the airfare, here's everything. I know Dad told me I should talk to you. So I made a couple inquiries and I made a call and I got my concierge service. I'm on the beach. Remember, I'm on the beach in Newport. I made the calls. Well, guess what? 2 days later, I called her back and I had a printout. I got her the same hotel, the same room on the ocean front. It was I had a swim up to their door. There was like a pool, and came right up to the door of their room, first floor room on the ocean side. It's in the Caribbean. They had an all inclusive resort, which means they didn't pay for anything. It was all paid for in the package. They had their food, their drink, their bar, their entertainment, their excursions. They wanted to ski, they wanted to go golfing, they wanted to do scuba diving, all this stuff. And the whole package was with airfare from New Jersey there and back was $9,500. Well, I did the same look at the same place, same time, well, all that stuff. And I came back and I called her back. I said, well, Heather, do you think, how's $4,900? She says, how do you do that? I said, I'm a travel agent. Now, I understand, yes, that was a discounted price, and I did give her, we actually were able to give them, her husband, a limo, not a bus, but a limo from the airport to the hotel and back. We gave that as a gift to them, the cost of doing that. And I'll just tell you it was $150 because we have, and again, we have connections and we got world class connections, even in that area around the world. And same company, we go wherever island we're on in the Caribbean, we use the same company because we get good deals and commissions. So, anyways, to say that what we came up with that program, I didn't give the house away on it, but I'll tell you what, she saw I had a pretty good deal. Guess what? She went on her honeymoon and thanked us. To this day, she still talks about it.
Wow. So, needless to say, when she said, "I know the managers, and we can talk to them about getting a discount," and I said, "Well, we don't really need to talk to them. I have access to their product. I'm in the travel business.
Go ahead.
I have access to two sets of pricing through my Vortex, which is a free link I can give out to the world that's going to be coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. They can book through that link, and it's going to look at the lowest internet price, which is the actual price for that particular Hampton that's on the internet, that everybody, and also on the website for the hotel. The Vortex is going to look at that price, which is, like you said, parity, and it's going to come in up to 60% less than that price. So I don't have to talk to the manager to get that. I have access. The key word in all that we're talking about today is a person, a regular person, ordinary person like you and I, now having extraordinary access. And I said, so I have access to that hotel, that room, and at a discounted rate, a savings rate. And she says, really? She says, I heard you talking about Surge 365 before, but I never really got it until like now. And I was like, we have access, so I don't have to talk to them. I don't have to negotiate with them. I have access to the industry, which is different than access to an individual who may or may not want to work with me or work with, either way, I don't even need to know them. Same thing in China. I don't have to go to China. I don't have to go to that hotel in wherever in the United States, whether around the world. I have access to them through the internet. See, people don't understand the power of technology nowadays. That when you have access at a particular global level, you don't have to work around in the weeds here, because you're at the global level of the prices, of parity, of open door, closed door, behind the scenes, wholesale rates. You are an insider. You are an insider, not just a consumer. So Mary brings up an excellent point. For the neurodiverse community and any community to have access to what we're talking about now, the travel industry, to where you don't have an employer or a boss saying you got to do it this way or you're out of here or you got to where you can create meaningful work for yourself, where you get paid for the work that you do, where you can use your own product. Like Ron said, they took a cruise in Europe and came home to a check for $800 on their own cruise. How does that even happen? Now, okay, I'll say this. And I want you to talk about it, Ron. But now that $800 was going to go to someone, and unless you're in the business, it's not you. Why pay that $800 to somebody else? Over to you, Ron.
Well, I say, and then since we experienced that right up front, first couple months that we were,
Yeah, you disappear. I'm like, where are they at?
I had to go trace down a place where I could get cream of wheat made for me every morning when I got up.
Let me
Because
say
that's
this,
my
Ron.
favorite breakfast.
So you didn't ask permission from Joel or
No, I
Rick.
didn't even ask you.
You just say, please, Rick, can I go? No, I give them the tool Search 365. So Joel recommends it, and I give them, and they purchase and come into the business and become travel business owners. They didn't say, Rick, can you teach me how? Can you show me? No, they disappeared. I'm like, where are they? Oh, that was too good, though. That's a classic. That's a classic. Over
Well,
to you.
and that helped Lynn and I. That was something that was we were looking for. We wanted to go. That was something that we had planned on, and we were able to do it. Now, I look back and a couple other things that have come into our life. We have a very strong faith active in our life that we live by and live and believe in, and it's serving. And we had the opportunity, because of what we learned from this opportunity, we had the availability to help a church who was going to send a bunch of people to Guatemala. Now, that's a foreign country. There's still wars going on there right now. It's the jungle. This is a jungle. You get outside the city, Guatemala City. I'm telling you, it's wilderness. Well, anyways, the group was going down there, and the guy that was going to lead them was the youth pastor at the church, and it was only a few months away when he hadn't done anything. He didn't know how to do it. He didn't know where to go. And it just so happens that was when we actually had started going to that church. And, it came up that there was a need. And, I said, well, I could maybe help you. Well, I sat down with the pastor. The first thing I found out, now this is really interesting. we sat down to have a meeting with the people, and there was a leader. And we said, well, first of all, let me ask you something. When you send people to Guatemala, um, how if something happens, anybody gets sick or someone gets hurt, someone gets bit by a snake, how is the church protected? Or how are those people protected for that matter? And his answer to me was, Orion, we pray for them.
Wow.
Now, in today's world, I didn't feel that that was a very way, and I'm a man of faith, but there's some things that you don't just risk. That's risk. So I had the ability, because we have a system, we have companies that support us, that we can provide insurance, travel insurance. In fact, if somebody goes out of the country, goes on a cruise, I'm not talking where they fly from Buffalo to Cleveland. I'm talking where they go out of the country and they're traveling, they're going foreign countries. You got the weather, you got um, things happening in countries, you got health, sickness. If something happens while you're there, you're in a car accident. Well, how are you going to deal with that? Well, we have programs to provide the service. In this case, they had 13 people going, and to insure every one of those people would have been, everyone was going to cost about 150 bucks, $150 a piece. But our company had a sale going that month. On top of that, we directly called them, and they were willing to let the leader with nonprofit organization, the church, they're willing to register the leader of the group and insure them, and then everybody else became an add-on, an extra person that became able to come on for the same price for everybody, and it was a year's policy, and it included travel if there was a hurricane came in or the plane for some reason they were stuck and they couldn't get back, somebody got injured. As a matter of fact, Rick, on the first trip I ever put and booked and carried, and they get the insurance, they covered it. One person, we had the head person insured, and they had everybody else as a rider.
Wow.
You talk about saving the church money that wants to do something that's so good, and the blessing of being able to do that. That's because of who we worked with. The um, the inside operations travel, worldwide travels with Delta. Now, so that's one thing that happened better. Second thing that we got to do is they got to book it in like February, February or March of the year, and they weren't going until the next February. But we had it booked. They got until November to pay the bill, so they could use that whole year to fundraise, or add more people to the trip, or bring more things to what they were going to do. So it's not like when you buy a normal airline ticket. I don't care who you are. You better have your credit card ready. You're not a checkbook. You better have cash or the credit card ready now. It better be good. You don't get an airline ticket 6 months, a year in advance. Well, we get to do it for people that are traveling on a mission trip through the group sales at Delta.
Wow.
Now, not only that, we found out you just want to ask them, can we get a nonprofit rate? What we found out is that using a nonprofit rate might be good from the idea that you don't pay tax, but you can get a discount rate going to the regular rate and just under being under the group program sales that they have. You do pay tax, but it's less than the discount rate that they had for groups, for nonprofit. I learned that. These are little tricks along the way. So I was able to become more valuable to helping groups, and I've done it multiple times. We actually had a group that went to Cuba. And when you go to Cuba, you don't just fly to Cuba. There's no plane flying directly that comes like Buffalo, New York to Cuba. You got to go to like Miami and get to and then there's very specific flights. Well, not only that, you got to stay before the night before, and when you come back, the flights in and out of Cuba are regular. Can't count on them. So you have to take in a fly in the day before you're going to fly into Cuba, because they may let you in at some time and land, or they change the flight types. So you have to have that versatility. So now you got to set up housing for a group in Florida where they would go fly to from Buffalo or wherever. And so you have to make those arrangements. the funniest part, the group that went to Cuba, the night before they left, they stayed at well, basically they were down the street from Mar-a-Lago, Trump golf course. They went from Trump
Wow.
golf course to Cuba. Now, while they were there, the government of Cuba fed the people because you're there when you go to Cuba. They feed, clothe you, give you free medicine, education, everything. Well, their food was 3 bags of rice and 3 bags of beans. And when we got back, they had pictures showing the people that were on this mission trip. And what they were doing is they were separating the wheat and the chaff from the rice and the beans and stones because
Wow.
the food they got from the government, that was what was allocated to them. It's their church. Now, we don't realize how good it is. Now, in Cuba, it is illegal to own a Bible. It's against the law, and you will go to jail. But we had a group of people that wanted and were willing to bring in, and you can use the word smuggle. They did, and they smuggled. I was Gideon, so I got Spanish-speaking New Testaments, and they went to an orphanage, Rick. And
Hmm.
and the report that I got back, the lady that ran the orphanage had never held a Bible. 25 years she had been head of the orphanage. She had never held a real Bible.
How about that?
25 years. And I'm so excited to share this story one more time. Again, I do it all the time. Because of the program, and because of the help, and because of the organization that we have in Surge 365, my being able to go to Travel Agent University and learn all kinds of things in being transportation and coordinating things and then becoming a certified travel agent, certified CLE agent. By having all this at our disposal, I was able to make that connection for people. They have those children in that orphanage to have Bibles.
Wow.
See, we can do so much for so many people. Yeah, we can book somebody's. We do a fair amount of booking because people in our neighborhood now, they come up to our door and say, "Hey, we heard your credit travel agent." We have learned that if you build an organization, the the company will encourage and benefit you. We have the greatest compensation plan on the face of the earth of any company to be able to, when you work and earn, and you don't have to give up what you're doing, you're not going to drop out of life. You can actually work this into the cracks if you just do it. If you make a commitment and take little steps, you can turn this into a cash stream that can fund your family and all your expenses. And
That's
that's what's
amazing.
really neat.
That's amazing. What an amazing testimony of what we have. So, for a person that is service oriented, Search 365 gives them a global reach and a global capability, to provide a service globally. And that's very, very powerful. And getting back to what Mary was saying about neurodiversity and neurodiverse individuals not necessarily wanting to work in a traditional work environment, being able to work out of the home. This is a home based business, or that you can choose whatever you call home, but you can work it out of your home. And you can as much or as little as you choose. And it's amazing because the population that Mary's talking about is brilliant and in their own ways, and but they don't have a tool. And so when you don't have to have a tool, you have to depend on others. You can sit home and you can order on the internet, become a computer expert, but you can be nothing more basically than a consumer. But when you have a business tool, and we're talking travel today, when you have a business tool such as Surge 365, which now gives you access to the global travel industry, you've already learned how to do the computer, you're like computer expert, consumer expert on the computer. Now, having a tool Surge, as you mentioned, Ron, you could take whatever training you want. Rick, I want to help people that have special needs. You can become a special needs travel specialist and have access to all the special needs equipment, whether it's the motor scooters, oxygen, canes, walkers. You have access to everything, and you can rent those out to a customer base. You can book trips if you choose to book trips. If you want the vendors to book those trips for you, of your friends to say, "Hey, I want to go here." Okay, I can take care of that, and connect them to the vendor, and you earn the commissions. You may have a link. We've talked about the vortex. You can give out to the world. They can self book on their own personal, private, saving booking portal. You earn 100% of what they save. Now you got a revenue stream. So Mary, you are absolutely right. If you say, okay, Rick, I know, like Mary, for example, she could work with the industry, the hotels, the cruise lines, as a consultant to say, here are the needs of this population. And right now you're not meeting their needs. Whether it be, sensory type needs, whether it be, I mean, she could go through the list because she has a company, she has a business that specializes in this, and her own personal experience from two beautiful children. And but she can actually be a consultant to the industry. We're talking about creative ways that you can use a product to forward and advance yourself, and to monetize your talents, to monetize your experience, to monetize your skill set, and in ways that you perhaps couldn't do up until this point. And so, being able to own and operate a Surge 365 travel business from the home, you're not paying $7,635, right? Or $736 a month to lease. You are an owner. You are a travel business owner at Search 365. Something that amazed me. I was on a call with Delby Santiago, who is our.
You know,
Go ahead, Mary.
one thing I'd like you to talk about, because I've talked to other agents who are travel agents through different organizations, and they have to do everything separate, and then they bill you. With Surge, it's all in one.
What do you mean?
Like when you set up a package, you're building that package up. You're not having to go to Expedia. You're not having to go to this page, this site, this site, this site to do it all.
Oh yeah, like Ron could tell you. Ron sets up the flight, the hotel, you know the cookies that come in the mail. He sets everything up.
It's
How do you do that,
all in
Ron?
Well,
one set.
most of the time there's several ways. There's some people that are going to deal with a multiple. They want to go one place and they want a certain time, and it's a certain time they want to go, a certain date, and there's a certain number of people. Okay, that's really simple. It has details, but it's simple. Now, then you got to like the mission trip. Well, that's a group, and there's time, and you have to. There's things that work, and over. You don't work at one time and then sit there for 8 hours. You hit. There's things you do a little bit at a time, and there are some different aspects because you got international trade. You got dealing with governments. There's some other simple things. They're still simple. Some people just want to go on a cruise, or they just want to go on this. They want to go to Disney. You can be now with Disney. There's a whole slew of things that you can learn about, get certified, and provide the services to the people who are there. Do they want to stay on Disney property, or they want to go? Some people believe I can get a cheaper deal offsite of Disney than I can get from Disney, and that's probably true. And the reason is there's a variety of hotels that you can stay at, and they have a variety of packages. So you get to learn all these things because we have training. And then or Linda, and I will tell you, Linda is not only RCLC Solutions is the name of our business. She's my partner. She's my wife. We travel. We travel together, but we love to travel with other people. But we have the advantage that if somebody comes to us, like last October, we had a couple that we knew through another great friends of ours, a relative of theirs in Toronto, Canada. And they wanted to go to the Christmas cruise, and that's out of Miami to Caribbean. Linda put the whole package together. In fact, they were so late making this trip because usually that trip is scheduled at least a year in advance. We've learned these things about the industry, and so they came to us. But Linda got them the last cabin on the ship, and she put the programs. It was two adults and an adult child, so we're three people. So now you got two people, one cabin, and one of the. I mean, you got all the details. We learned those things, and we experienced those, and we worked with a cruise line we had never used before. And I will tell you, there's different companies that give you more support than others. Carnival gives you incredible support. And if you have autistic children, they have programs set up for autistic children. In fact, it's an advantage because they want to help you. They want to grow that area of support in the industry. They're committed to it. They have a great salute to veterans on every cruise anywhere in the world. They have every on every cruise they have a seminar, a awards banquet program. It's not a banquet, but it's a time where they recognize veterans and their support, and they give away cruises on it for free for families. You know the benefits. How do I know all that? Because we've been around here now. But anybody can learn from us or learn from the system. We have backup to do it. And I'm sitting here holding. I had a copy of a check. A year ago, I met a lady in the bank, and it turns out in conversations, it finds out we just talked. And it turns out she didn't have the money for the rent for her apartment coming up, and she didn't know where she was going to get it from. I want you to know, on her month a year ago, that month she turned around and she got a check. Now she got five. I said to her, she said, "Well, how much you need?" Well, $500. I said, "Okay." She earned $500 in less than 30 days. And because she wanted the check flown to her overnight so she could pay her rent on time, they took a couple dollars out. So I have a copy of her check. And so she was able to earn and learn and have this check of $500 and pay her bills. She had just gotten started, didn't know nothing, got this, and was able to put together a program that still today is starting. And she has had some issues, but she's kicking in to take off and grow some more. There's been no timetable. There's nobody pushing her in or out of the door because she did or didn't do something. The point is that you could start right now, and you can. And I can say it firsthand because I helped create it. I know that I can help someone make $500 if they need it in their this month in their budget. If they need it to pay their rent or pay the car payment or whatever it is they need for, we can help them do it. And so that's what makes what we do so vital.
Powerful. Definitely, that's powerful, Ron, and how you just explained that. Any other questions, Mary?
No, that was it.
Where do you see neurodiverse families or individuals being able to use this based on your experience, Mary?
The big part is one looking for an alternative income, especially families who lost funding due to the elimination of the DEI program. There were
Hmm.
programs called parent support. So basically, parents with autistic or special needs kids that need extra help
Hmm.
got paid money to stay home with their kids. So they didn't
Hmm.
have to work a second job because, there may be 30 daycares in your neighborhood, but only 4 slots for special needs kids.
Hmm.
And there's more than four kids.
Correct.
Wow.
So things like that where they can do this, they can run it in the background, post on social media, whatever they do, and still be able to bring in extra money for their kids.
So if anyone out there is considering that, definitely contact us. So how would they get a hold of either yourself, Mary, or Ron?
So the easiest way to get a hold of me is to call me, and my number is 507-338-3725.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
Ron, I don't have my phone in front of me, so I have no idea
They can call 716-908-2300. And the point is that we are able to help other people. In fact, that's the theme of the Hope Collection, which sponsors this show. The Hope Collection's theme is helping others by helping them help others. You know, anybody will help somebody. A convict will help someone across the street. Sees a little old lady, they can do that. But if you can get that convict to teach other people to help other people, he's not a convict anymore. He's a servant. And we can change lives, turn the world around, guys. And that's what our business teaches people to do. And so, what makes me very proud of what it is that we do is that I know that at any given day, there's somebody's life that we can make a difference in. And that's our goal. That's what we live for. And everybody that's on this call or is part of the team does that very thing. And God blesses people for doing that. He promises he does. And you know what? That's one of his promises. So I think it's actually one of his charges. I love the fact that we hang out with a group of people that know what it is to serve and how much joy we can bring, not to the lives. We'll bring joy to ourselves, there's no question about it. How much joy can we bring to somebody else? In doing that, those are rewards. You can't. I mean, it's just incredible. And when you can tell somebody that's never gone on a trip and you have them go on their first cruise and then climbing up the gangplank to get on board the ship and they have their first jump in the jacuzzi or go to a show, a magic show, and see incredible world entertainers speak or share, sing, and dance. Or you go and have a meal and you can have as many shrimp cocktails as you want and you never had one.
And as many desserts as you
Or
want.
desserts, yeah.
Woo-hoo!
Chocolate lava cake. Oh, guys, we could just make life for people such a joy. And there's so much on a day to day basis. There's so much stress. There's so much, and it can consume people. But the minute you can put a powerful tool in their hands that they're going to reach out and help somebody else, their issues and their problems, they don't go away. They just get to be livable. And solutions come out of it.
It's good.
One thing I'd like to add before we go, two things actually, but one is this program isn't just for the United States. You can live in other countries and run the same program.
Yes, that's true.
So this is a complete international business. You can be in Europe doing the same thing.
And Latin America is really exploding.
So
So
this
yeah,
is a
you're right.
worldwide opportunity, not just a national
Yes,
opportunity.
good point.
So I guess our time is winding down, but I'd like to just mention that we meet every Monday at noon on Beam Pod, and we're so excited. Podbeam, I'm sorry, Podbeam Live. And you can let your friends and neighbors and know about the show. You can invite them to join us Monday through Friday at noon Eastern Time. On Monday, it's Hometown Heroes. On Tuesday, it's Travel Tuesday. We're talking about travel today. Tomorrow is Health and Wellness with Beth Wyman and Linda, my wife, hosts that
Except
show.
for tomorrow, Beth is doing something, so she won't be able to do the show. But it is World Autism Day tomorrow, so we're doing a special show on at the same time talking about autism.
Nice.
That's incredible. Thursday is Family Day, Bob Oakley or other guest speakers. And Friday, we have the privilege of having on our show that we broadcast the original Top Gun, talk about American heroes. Gentleman who, besides having been a wonderful veteran Navy pilot and became the Top Gun for the Navy, taught other extensions of the service, Air Force and Marines, how to do different combat maneuvers that reduced the number of people that were dying in airplane crashes in combat. Then he went on to form the Golden Rule Society and has been nominated now 5 times for a Golden Rule or for the Nobel Peace Prize. And you could talk to him live. He'll be on the show on Friday at noon. And so I extend to anybody that would like to come and learn more about who it is, what we do. This is the radio station, just an arm of the outreach of the Hope Collection. And we'd like you to know that what we're here to do is help serve you and help make your life better. We thank everybody that's come today and listened in. We hope you receive some blessings from today's show. And if you have a need that you'd like to fill, or you want to travel, or you want to earn more income, you want to help your life and your family, get a hold of us and we'll do that very thing. Have a great day, everybody, and bless you.
God bless. We'll see ya.
Thank you. Bye now.